Hey folks, it's Ray with Taste Radio. Right now I'm honored to be sitting down with Trey Kennedy, the founder of Basic Cellars. Trey, great to see you.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. So, I am a big wine guy. I've been into wine for a long time, and I'm always looking for interesting new options in this space, as I'm sure you are. I'm curious, though, about your interest in the wine business. I mean, have you been into wine for a while, or is this something relatively new to you?
I have, as a comedian touring around, my life is I work nights, right? And I love to have a drink before the show or especially after the show. And, I'm into my 30s now. I'm a father of two under two. So alcohol is very important to me. I'll be the first to admit. And I love a good drink, and I love how drinks kind of just bring people together. And I love to share a drink with my wife or get together with friends. And so I've gone the classic path of early 20s, whatever ungodly stuff I was drinking, and then kind of moved into a small IPA phase until I decided I don't want to drink like 500-calorie milkshake Pop Tart IPAs in my free time, and really found wine, I don't know, a handful of years ago. I was just like, man, I love wine. It's great. It's perfect. It's like you don't need too much of it. There's so much variety. It's you get to play with what you like, what you don't like. And I noticed a lot of my fan base too. They'd be coming to sharing their boomerangs of them drinking their wine before the show or after the show, and it just kind of felt very authentic that I was enjoying wine and my fans were. And so that's kind of how Basic Cellars, the initial idea, even came about. But I'm your classic, like, I love wine, and I've made small attempts to be a wine guy and have just found it so overwhelming and so confusing, and kind of like, you know what, I personally don't have the time to memorize what grapes come from where. I just want to go to a brand I know has good wine, and wine to me is fun. I don't want to do the whole kind of like, I remember one of the first times I went to like a fancy wine place. They kind of present you the bottle, and then they pour you a little bit. And I was just like, what do I do? I don't, what is it? I was like, oh, I'm supposed to drink it. And I just like chugged it. I was like, now what? And like, you're supposed to sip it and like let them know if it tastes okay. And I was like, why? All that kind of stuff that the wine drinkers know about, which is all well and good. I'm like, let's just make a wine. You just pop the bottle and drink right from it, or whatever you want to do. It's not meant to be taken too seriously, but it's still good, delicious wine.
I think your perspective is similar to a lot of folks that like wine but don't want to be overwhelmed by choice paralysis or having to be educated about all the different varietal styles, regions where wine comes from. There have been, I think, attempts to create a more approachable, accessible wine brand in the past. I can think of a handful that still exist. How do you see Basic Cellars as different from those that existed in the past and currently exist on the market?
I think what I'm trying to do with Basic is make wine fun, to put it simply. It's called Basic because it's kind of a double entendre. It's basic wine. It's good. It's also playing into this kind of trend of being a basic bro or a basic girl of, I kind of embrace this almost ironic, like, yeah, we're drinking our wine, we're so basic, and trying to make wine more approachable and truly fun, where I think there's a little bit of a fork in the road with wine where it's like, okay, it's fun, it's simple, and so it's kind of cheap, and maybe it's not the best wine. Or it's like it's supposed to be more approachable and simple, but it's still kind of wine. It still feels a little fancy, uppity. So we're trying to just come at the market with like, though, this is really good quality wine. Once you try it, you're gonna love it. But it's just meant to be fun and bring people together and be communal and unserious.
I think there might be a bit of a hurdle when it comes to communication when you talk about something that's basic as being something that's premium, right?
Right.
So, how do you bridge that gap between the name and what you're trying to give to consumers, and also make it clear that this is a better option, a more premium option than other products out there?
Definitely. And that's certainly the big hurdle we've we're tackling initially is, yeah, it's fun, it's basic. So your head just goes to, oh, it's cheap or whatever. So I think the packaging is a real game changer. That was important to me to not only be different from a brand perspective, but how is it delivered? How do you consume it? And so we have these single serves, and it's not a can. It's like these beautiful single serve glass bottles with the cork. And it's we have a great partner within Good Taste. They fulfill and get our liquid, um, and so I think that does a lot to where the branding we did, the packaging, it presents itself in a way that does seem a little more premium. And I think the payoff will be, oh, people get it. It's fun. I like the packaging is different, and they drink it, and they actually become fans for life. They want to keep getting it because the taste is undeniable.
Yeah, for sure. I think one way to make wine a bit more accessible is exactly what you're talking about, is giving people options when it comes to the size of the bottle. 187 milliliters is your size. That's one glass of wine. You could probably break it up into two glasses if you wanted to. Why was that so important to the foundation of what you're doing in the future of the company?
Yeah, again, just authentic to my personal experience. I wanted to potentially get in this world of wine because I think it made sense for what I truly love off camera and off stage, and what I felt like my fans truly loved. And then what I was experiencing as a wine drinker too is, and again, my fans I feel like are such an extension of me because I'm just presenting myself, and I feel like we have a lot in common. And there's the amount of wine I pour down the drain was like sickening to me because I'm a guy who I got a family. I want to be frugal. I want to, not waste. But there's so many. To me, the bottle was so difficult because there's some nights I wanted a glass. There's some nights I wanted three-fourths a bottle, but there's like to perfectly hit. And I'm not the type of guy who has a drink every night. So like, you know what, this Tuesday night, I need a half a bottle of wine. I just do. And then I'm the type of guy who I try to, I don't want to drink every single night. Of course, I want some people, buy a basic, drink it every night. But it's like, okay, I'm going to have my next glass maybe on a Saturday afternoon. This wine's bad now. And so that was important to me for not only just being different and offering an alternative, but a real functionality to it of, hey, I just grab a quick glass, and maybe you decide to open up another bottle of basic. So you want your second glass, but, I've truly enjoyed having these in my house as I start to experience the single serving option, and I've just wasted a lot less wine, plain and simple.
Yeah, wasting wine is not a good thing. In fact,
No,
it's a very,
it's
very
like the
bad thing.
worst. And
Yes.
the amount of times I've tried a bottle that's been out a few days and tried to trick myself, like, is that you take the second sip, like, no, that's disgusting now. That's
Yeah.
very sad. Down the drain it goes.
And what's worse is you just leave it there sometimes. This happened to me a few days ago where I'm like, I'm gonna get to it, and then like 3 days later, you're like, I really want to, even though it's bad, and then you're just like, there goes
I got
20
a bottle
bucks.
right now. That's maybe we had a bunch of family over, and they brought over a bottle, and there's maybe three-fourths of a glass in it. It's just sitting there. It's been 10
Yeah.
days. I know the inevitable's coming. And it is a shame. The amount of times too, there's been like a few swigs left, and I just take it like a shot of vodka or something because I'm like, I don't want to waste it. But gosh, it tastes so bad now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying the single serving, much less waste.
Well, I think you're onto something, and I think your fans are onto something in that they are looking for options like basic sellers. And I say your fans because, and we've referenced this, or you've referenced this a few times, they're looking for something that they can have on a pretty regular basis, but not be committed to an entire bottle. And the fans in particular that you're talking about, I would think, are women, if I'm not mistaken. I look at your Instagram videos, and I just get the sense that you're speaking to millennial and Gen X aged women. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. My real core audience over the years has been built through different viral videos, and it's there's a big chunk of that is women. And because I've done this kind of basic girl character frolicking through a pumpkin patch and all that's been viral for years. And I kind of play into everyday life, like I've been married for almost 5 years now, and do the daily humor of ups and downs of marriage and now parenthood. And I've found that the women really have gravitated towards my content, thus my live shows. But what do women love to do? They love to drag their guys to things. So we've built my touring business because the guys come along. It was like a running joke. They're like, I don't know who this guy is. My wife, it made her happy to buy tickets. And then they see me do my thing and they're like, oh, we like this guy too. So there's definitely a strategy of serving that core audience and these women who, again, wine tends sometimes, which I don't agree with, tends to feel like a feminine drink. And I'm also trying to tackle that a little bit. Like I'm a guy who's now, I bring wine to the tailgate instead of beer because I'd rather slowly have a couple glasses of wine rather than pound these like light beers that taste like water. And guys kind of side eye you like, oh, dude brings the wine. I'm like, yeah, I like wine. What's wrong with wine? And so first serving that core audience of women who inevitably say, hey, husband, boyfriend, share this wine with me. They become fans. And that's how we've tried to grow my other parts of my life and career. And that's what we hope to do with Basic.
How much of your business, how much of the Basic Cellars business do you expect to be female consumers versus male consumers? Do you have a sense of that at this point? I know you're really new, but I mean, in your business strategy, I wonder if you've already kind of figured that out or tried to figure that out.
Very new. We're not even 2 months old. So we've got orders, which is amazing. They keep coming every day. And it seems pretty apparent that the women, like our target audience, are the ones buying the wine, and women tend to buy in the relationship anyway. But there's no doubt that my core audience is this kind of millennial woman, mom of two or mid 30s. It's just kind of the exact life I'm in, and unashamedly just saying, hey, this is good, fun wine for the basic girl. And through that, we'll see that spread and hopefully trend into the guys as well. But playing to all the uses of it as well, how it's a fun, new, cute way to, Friendsgiving, the holidays, you housewarming to a friend. Wine is such a go-to for people, and we're trying to attack that as well, to have a fun, new, creative option of gifting and holidays, etc.
Trey, you do a really good job of authentically incorporating Basic Cellars into your videos, into your Instagram videos. I just feel like it's a really natural and easy way to introduce the brand to folks. You're not saying buy this. You're just kind of being like, this is part of my humor, and it all works really cohesively. I wonder if that aspect of what you do translates to sales. As in, are people buying, using a link on Instagram or TikTok, Basic Cellars through that video?
Great question. And that was a question I had as well. But I just posted a new video right before I hopped on this call, and I checked, we had immediately a few orders. So super encouraging, because over the years I've been able to make my living and continue this career by doing brand partnerships with, brands that aren't mine. And you never really know how that works out and how your audience resonates with that. But I was very, very confident in this product and this company. It's like, oh, celebrity wine, what a genius. But I did feel like there was an opportunity, like there was this hole in the market that we could fill, and that my audience, it wouldn't feel like this cash grab. It wouldn't feel like this salesman thing. It's like, I'm getting a response of, this makes perfect sense for this guy to have this under his umbrella of stuff he's doing. And that was very important to me. I didn't want to come across, money hungry, and I'm certainly not. I think this is really fun. I'm proud to have founded it and to put it out to the people. And it's been very encouraging, because I've launched stuff over the years that's pretty clear people don't have an interest in. But very fortunately, as we make this content, I'm not having to force myself to come up with new ideas. It's just like a video I already would have made. I'll just hold the bottle in it and mention it for a split second, and it feels perfectly in line. It doesn't feel out of place.
Yeah, and it's not like you're saying, I'm the founder, buy my wine. It's just, I'm telling a funny story that happens to include wine, and here's Basic Cellars as the wine that's part of my video. It doesn't feel forced at all, which is really hard to do, I think. I see so many influencers trying to do that and failing miserably.
Oh,
Um,
thanks. Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, is there a secret? I mean, because there are founders listening to this right now who work with influencers and probably want to say, hey, I want to work with you to make this feel like it's not an ad, to make it feel like it's good, fun content that people want to watch. Any pointers in that regard?
Well, like that's a big part of why I want to do this as well, because I've been doing brand deals for a decade, and um, start to think like, all right, I guess a lot of people believe I can do a good job of giving awareness to their product or selling their product. Maybe I should just do my own product that I'm passionate about. And so, getting paid by a company to promote their products is great, and it's how I've built this career. But it's a lot more excited when you have ownership of it. And to any advice I give, I would just I think my easiest practical advice is just look through the influencers' past brand deals versus the real content. Does it feel the same? I think there's a ton of influencers that they get paid to do a brand deal, and instead of I've always taken that as, all right, this company's paying me real dollars. I'm very grateful for that. I want to fulfill my end of this deal and give them the results they're hoping for and beyond. And so but I also still have an audience that I want to care for and push them out content that doesn't make them roll their eyes or scroll past. They're like, I still want to watch this. And if you ever see my brand deals, the comments are flooded with like, this is what the only guy I'll watch ads for. Like, this is the one guy who makes ads fun. And so I've put a real effort on that. And I think some influencers, you'll see regular video, they go all out. It's top notch. And then a brand deal, you could tell they kind of just put it together and they want to just get it over with. And so um, that's been a huge part of my strategy, is finding a way to integrate that. And I think I've been fortunate to work with great brands who, every time I do a brand deal, I really fight for my creative. I don't necessarily just, obey everything the brand tells me. I say, hey, I've been doing this a while. I think we should do it this way or that way, just to make sure both the client and my audience is happy.
Do they have to review the content? I mean, we're getting a little off topic. I'm sorry for that, but I mean, do they have to review the content before it goes out?
Yeah. And I have a great team and management and assistant and my own team. We have this thing. It's a well-oiled machine. We have them kind of give us their vision. I go to the writing room, script, send it over. We get the script nailed down 100%. So we avoid any confusion when we deliver the actual content. And then we go shoot, edit, deliver it. And they watch it and say, looks good. And I post it.
So I don't know if you're familiar with an entrepreneur named Kyle Cook. He is the founder of a brand called Loverboy. He's known for a show on Bravo, a popular one that I can't recall right now. So, but he's a pretty popular figure. I'm sorry. Go
Summer
ahead.
House, I think.
Summer House is exactly what it is,
Yeah.
and Winter House. Exactly. Well done.
Okay.
And so I talked to him about Loverboy and his focus on that brand and sort of using his celebrity and using his appearances on that show to help market the brand. He does it really well. And one of the things that was kind of surprising or really interesting was how much merch they sell, and how big of a business, how big of a part of the business it was. How does merch factor into your current focus for Basic Cellars and potentially in the future as well?
Yeah. I mean, Loverboy, and they've done a great job of, really great job of merch, because I think how I discovered Loverboy was some of the merch, and I thought it was like just a cool clothing brand. And then I dug deep. You're like, oh, that's a beverage brand. So they've done that really interestingly. And I'm wearing the hat, I'm wearing the crew neck. We haven't sold these yet. We're getting a lot of DMs of people saying they like it. So we'll see. We got some ideas, but there's no doubt we want to find a good strategy with merch or any kind of other basic experiences to go beyond the wine. Because I think it's one thing to create a brand and a wine that people like the taste and they think it's kind of fun. They're proud to drink it. They're proud to have it in their home. But how do we even go beyond that to make basic, not just a wine brand, but a real standalone brand that you hear that word and people just go to the wine, Lover Boy, people, that word can mean so many things, but when you hear that word, he's built the brand so well that now people think of one thing. And so I think that could be a big part of our strategy. We'll see. And people like the hats. I like wine hats. I'm proud to wear this around. I get a lot of compliments. So I guess there's just a lot of winos walking around, but hey, they're my friends.
Yeah, it's a really great hat,
Thank you.
and I like your sweater too. I mean, it's funny because I can't see the Cellars part. I just see the basic part,
Sure.
and yeah, there you go. And I
The
almost feel
tungsten
like if
glasses.
yeah, I almost feel like if you just left it at basic, it's kind of like what you're talking about, like creating an umbrella brand that could mean a lot of different things. Yes, it started out in wine, but you could be, I don't know, a fashion brand, a lifestyle brand, potentially even, a brand that includes other beverages. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about, Basic as potentially creating, I don't know, perhaps a beer and calling it Basic Beer so that you do have options for a variety of consumers?
Totally. We've thrown a million ideas at the wall. And as we try to get this off the ground and get basic in more people's hands and focus on delivering this like unique single serving size, we've got all sorts of ideas for down the road of maybe new SKUs or new packaging, or is there a is this a physical location at some point? Is it this? I have tons of opinions on current brick and mortar stores and bars and this and that. Could we shake that up one day? There's so many ideas and floating around in our heads that this thing could become, because we're very excited about the single serving bottle, and fortunately, I think my fans are too. We've seen sales, but I want to do what the people and the public want me to do, and follow what works. So there's a million ideas.
How do you listen to consumers? Again, you're relatively new, but I'm sure there are people saying, hey, you should do this, or hey, you should do that. Hey, you should collaborate with this brand. Hey, you should sell this merch. How do you filter through all the noise?
I've luckily have a decade of experience doing that. Really, being a comedian or content creator is just day in and day out adjusting to feedback. I get on stage and try a joke, and I really have no say in the matter. If they laugh, then that stays in the act, and if they don't, I gotta make it better. I gotta switch it up. And the same with the content. Okay, this type of video is working for me. Let's give them more of that, and so on and so forth. So with the wine, it's been really fun to hear the good feedback. But my first 100 customers, I emailed a survey. Tell me all about it, and got great feedback on the taste, the packaging, the price point, all that. Then just continue to remain humble and just serve the people. And that's really what I want to do, is provide a really fun experience. Again, I don't feel like I'm just asking for your money. It hopefully feels more like I'm desiring to provide you something that's of real value. Retail to me is huge, and online is amazing. I think that'll always be part of the business, but it's obvious. There's plenty of people who love wine, they love drinking alcohol, but they would never ever buy it online. They're like, hey, when it hits a store near me, I'll get it. And so that's a massive initiative for us, and we're hopeful we can do that. Total Wine's a big dream. That's there. I don't think there's like a wine provider that's doing better across the country right now, and we're really hoping for that.
Sometimes I look at brands' Instagram accounts and it feels like the collaborations they do with other brands feel forced. They don't feel as natural as they may need to be. I think the through line might be, oh, we're both early stage brands, so we should obviously collaborate. And I think PR agencies kind of and social media companies sometimes do that to the detriment of the brands. How do you determine which brands, if any, make sense as a collaborative partner for Basic Sellers?
Sure. Yeah, I think a lot of brands. I think that's why my team's excited and I'm excited. Is it's nice to come from a place of a professional content creator to create this content, because I think a lot of brands, and I've worked with a lot, that say, "Hey, let's go shoot this video," and in my head, I'm like, "This is going to get 0 views. What's the point of this?" And I think a lot of brands say, "We're just going to make and post content for the sake of making and posting content," and it's kind of this weird new world of social media, because it's free, you just upload it. But I don't really agree with that. I think every piece of content needs to serve a purpose, and that's what I've done with my personal accounts always. Even as back to Instagram stories, I never understood people just kind of like, click, here's my lunch today. Like, who wants to see that? What value is that providing? So I've tried to make it a goal for my content over the years that every time you see a post come up from me, it's adding value. Even if it's me promoting, buy my tickets, I try to work that into a joke or anything at all, so you don't feel like you've wasted your time. And so we're trying to do with Basic. And you speak to brands, I think if to kind of, I don't know if you're talking about this as far as a brand, but really our first initiative would be other influencers. That makes sense. Content creators, bloggers, and you have of endless amount of these female blogger, lifestyle vloggy, Instagram influencer gals who are crushing it. They have really devoted fun audiences, and we've sent a lot of them the wine, and they're excited about it. And so that's kind of the first step, is trying to gather maybe like an ambassador crew to come on. We really provide them with value. They provide us with value. And it's just an easy no-brainer for both audiences, where they're going to be excited to promote and post about it and not just feel like it's a paycheck, because they love the brand themselves and they know the audience will love it too.
As someone who is a social media expert, I think I can call you that.
Thank you.
Are there any platforms at this point that are up and coming that you're looking at as we have to be on this platform, or ones that brands should consider if they haven't already considered posting content on?
Up and coming, not really. I think you got the big, what is it, 5? It's Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It's the big 6. And they all have such a different, really cool audience taking part in each of those platforms. Snapchat is one I find less useful personally, because they're dominating the teenage space. And it's a wine. It's obviously doesn't make sense. And Instagram for me is my most valuable asset for my personal brands as well as Basic. Instagram, I think, is king still. Maybe YouTube as well, long form YouTube. But Instagram's really king when it comes to, I think, building a community. And you feel like you have this hub where you can follow their photos, their videos, their stories, etc. And Instagram just has a culture of more quality content. I think TikTok or YouTube Shorts has created a world of quantity over quality a little bit, and in their short form at least. And they're valuable. I have followings there. We're going to post there. But Instagram, and people always sleep on Facebook. Facebook says, "Oh, you're boomers on Facebook." Facebook's the biggest platform in the world, and I have a huge following there, and I convert real sales there. So Facebook and Instagram are important to me, and I feel like particularly serve my target audience too.
And it's still all about videos at this point. I mean, I think still images.
There's almost no point.
Seems to be the way of the dodo at this point.
Yeah, it's unless it's a really entertaining image, video is king. There's no doubt about it. And even in videos, we're seeing a regression from, there was an era of really more polished, produced content, and now you're really seeing the social media world value this stripped down iPhone selfie style content. And there's just this desire to relate to the influencer or the brand. You just see it increasing, where we feel like we're going back in time now, where we're experiencing more with content that makes you feel like you're FaceTiming your friend versus a fully produced sketch.
Well, I guess we're coming full circle here in that it may feel like it's more authentic if it isn't a polished, highly produced, expensive video. If it's something where people feel like, oh, they're talking to me, as you mentioned. It's not a company talking to me.
100%. We're seeing that 100%, because as the social media world and influencer world gets more and more saturated, I think people are just trying to find those more authentic voices they can relate to and feel like a friend just hanging out versus, some really polished piece of content.
Trey, I can see why you're popular. I can see why people love to talk to you and love to go to your shows. You're very easy to talk to. You're really straightforward. There's nothing that you're trying to, I guess, get over on people. And I'm really excited to see where Basic Cellars goes from here, because if they got you as the founder and they've got this really great idea and product, I mean, it sounds like you're already on third base. But I don't want to I don't want to jinx anything for you.
Listen, I haven't got my hopes up for a single moment. I feel like that's how I built my career. I joke with my wife. I'm like, tomorrow's the day it all ends. Everyone unfollows me, and that's how I like to operate. So I'll keep making fun videos and trying to promote the wine, and hope people can get it and enjoy it, and just we'll see what happens. But thanks for the kind words. It's fun to get to really dive in and chop it up over the wine and the company. I'm usually goofing around, so this is really fun.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Wednesday morning, so maybe not the best time to be drinking wine. But the next time you're in Boston for a show or whatever, please let me know, and I'd love to share a glass with you.
100%. I'm about to get back on the road for a few shows next year. I don't think there's any question we'll make it to Boston at some point. So we'll share not share a bottle. I'm gonna have my own, but we'll bring a few.
We'll each have a bottle or two.
Deal. Or two. Deal.
Yeah. All right, Trey. Once again, thank you so much for joining me on Taste Radio today. It's been great.
Thanks, Ray. Awesome combo. Thanks for having me.